days of group play led us to our final day, Asia facing off the West, and then we had SK Gaming falling in our opening match against GameWith, and then Immortals taking the big sweep over Chaos Theory, and now we find ourselves at the final match of the World Cyber Games, Team Liquid facing off against Ponos.
Team Liquid and Ponos, two very, very strong teams, as we all know, coming out everything on the line for these two teams, everything on the line for these two regions. It cannot get more exciting than this here at World Cyber Games, and Diego B will be kicking it off against Reiki Jones.
And these are two teams that prepare very well. One of the knocks that the West has kind of taken on with some of their Asian and Chinese counterparts is lack of preparation, in particular lack of really opposition research. That's not a problem with Ponos. Ponos comes in exceptionally prepared every time, as well as GameWith, who we saw earlier today.
Yes.
Ponos comes in ready to rock, and they're up against a team that also has fantastic coaching in the form of Eric.
And you know those teams from the West are not going to make any of those mistakes that they did last year as they went into the World Finals, where they were definitely surprised by the opponents. Team Queso and Immortals both falling in their very first matches. So today, now with Liquid showing up, a team that was not actually at World Finals last season, has everything riding on their shoulders. And of course, as you've mentioned, Ponos, Mikenbuya, Tengod, Reiki Jones, these gentlemen have all been here many, many times before. And, you know, this is going to be everything, Rich.
I am very, very excited. Of course, our opening match, our opening set, going to be Diego B facing off against Reiki Jones. Both very fun guys to watch. Reiki Jones, of course, with a smile on his face the entire time he plays. And then our 2v2 matchup will be great as well. So here we are, the standings all the way even. GameWith taking a win in the first match. Immortals taking a win in the second match. So it all comes down to this Team Liquid and Ponos winner take all.
Yeah, and one of the things that I find most fascinating about this weekend is Diego B's 1v1 play. He has been put in very, very high pressure situations now. In his first showing, he actually did lose the set, but all he needed was one game to take the day for the West. And then on the other side of it, you have him going up against EDGM, but we'll get right back to that in just a moment, Rich.
Taking a look at Ponos, Mikenbuya all the way to the right of your screen. Reiki Jones, one from the left, and of course Rad and Tengod in the mix. It will be Mikenbuya and Tengod as your 2v2 pair today.
Yeah, and on the other side of it, you have these players who you all know and love. Eric Benamu, their coach on the very far left. Surgical Goblin right next to him, maybe the most famous player in the entire world. Canario, a stone-cold killer in 2v2 and 1v1. Buffmech and Diego B, respectively, in those last two positions. And one of the things that surprised me, Rich, is when you told me that Surgical would pop into that third and final BO5 set, you know, tentatively at this point, not playing Buffmech, who has played so well this weekend.
I think that at this point, Surge really has been chomping at the bit, and if there's any chance for him to be in a 1v1 set, I just don't think there's any way to stop him from going there.
Yeah, you know, there's not a lot of deck pool information out there on Surge this season either. He's only shown up in King of the Hill. I think he may have made a head-to-head appearance in that 1v1 set, but not really being there much. I think he's 7-5 in head-to-head play, whereas, of course, in 2v2, he's at a 63% win rate at 22-13.
So Diego B and Reiki Jones will lead off. Diego B, a 7.1K personal best. Reiki Jones almost a 7.5, so both guys definitely talented in their latter play. Reiki Jones has been with Ponos for his entire CRL career, and of course Ponos has been one of the best teams in CRL Asia consistently throughout their run. He also plays for Team Giant in RPL. Diego B, on the other side of it, has been with Team Liquid throughout both seasons of CRL, but before that, a member of Team Queso.
Yeah, you know, Diego B and Surgical Goblin, both vets on Team Liquid, if you will, and then the new additions of Buffmech and Canario. Canario moving over from G2. A very, very strong team now, and big, big personalities that are very well managed by their coach, Eric Benamu.
Diego B, no slouch in his accolades as well, between what he's done in team play, between the King's Cup, between CRL, between BGW, also taking #1 at South by Southwest last year.
So we have Reiki Jones here, overall record on the season at 21-12 with a 64% win rate. On the other side of it, you got Diego B, 11-11 with one draw, 50% straight down the middle.
Yeah, Reiki Jones, negative win rate in the head-to-head play, but a big standout at 14-4 in the 2v2. But Got to feel like they are choosing him for maybe possible matchup purposes, or they also have the possibility of going to Rad for that third and final set, who's also performed very well.
And you saw there the camera zooming in on our good friend Ash Tax was actually sitting there in the audience, one of the great casters here in the division, actually sitting down and getting to be a spectator today, something that you and I got a lot to do, or the treat of doing throughout this weekend, as you mentioned before.
Yeah, big shout out to Ash and Modic, our counterparts here for this team competition at the World Cyber Games. Been fun to split duties with them and get to hang out here and Xi'an with them as well.
Yeah, they're absolutely great dudes, very talented players as well, and incredible casters. So getting into this 1v1 set, Reiki Jones, Diego B, as we've mentioned, of course the NATO still being banned by all the Asian teams, but on the other side of it, a card that we do not see banned as much from Diego B. You can see at the bottom of your screen, there's the NATO on the right, but an E-Wiz on the left.
A very interesting ban choice there, Andrew. I mean, the E-Wiz does figure into a few very specific decks, but I don't know how much. Maybe something about the deck pool of Reiki Jones or the deck pool of Ponos overall, they feel like functions well in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about the E-Wiz is the Inferno Dragon has been showing up more and more with the Inferno Tower nerf happening, so maybe, just maybe, Diego B wants nothing to do, wants to be able to put the pressure on with that Inferno Dragon.
Skarmy making a rare appearance, so maybe Reiki Jones possibly taking to the skies here in a moment, and Miner to the back because of that lack of tornado.
Yeah. The Skarmy has popped in with that Lava Clone deck, and also, of course, that new Princess Mega Knight Royal Giant deck that's started to climb up the GC ladder. And Diego B running maybe the Mega Knight deck that Buffmac ran on day number 1. That Mega Knight deck actually fell to a hard counter, but was still played very well and rich. That is exactly what it's going to be. And there's the Inferno Dragon to keep that ban, or to make that ban that much more effective.
Yeah, very good call there, Andrew. E-Wiz out of the way, so Inferno Dragon can be able to run roughshod over a lot of situations. We'll see how Reiki Jones chooses to deal with that. He does have the giant snowball as one option.
Nice zap there. Inferno Dragon being tanked for by the Miner. Skeleton Barrel coming in. This is exactly what we expected, Rich. Lava Clone going up against that Mega Knight bait deck.
And things working out very well for Diego B so far. We are about 90 seconds down, and he has barely taken any damage. Reiki Jones in a fair amount of trouble.
Yeah, really, really nice use of the Goblin Gang there. I absolutely love this deck. Now, the big question is when will we see the Mega Knight, and will we see the Mega Knight come down to create a huge ground presence that Reiki Jones may have trouble dealing with?
And Diego choosing to let the Baby Dragon get on tower rather than sacrifice those Spear Goblins. Skarmy down again in response, but Zap gets things out of the way, and Reiki Jones in a lot of trouble.
Reiki Jones incredibly frustrated. You see his hand to his head. The thing is he does not have another spell to deal with all these swarm units. He's only got the Snowball, and now the Mega Knight comes down very aggressive in the opposite lane. Reiki Jones in a lot of trouble, Rich.
Miner to the back. Mega Knight all over that tower. Reiki Jones choosing to lava up on the right-hand side. Now the clone could be a potential problem. That can turn the tide of a game in seconds, but the Inferno Dragon all over that Lava Hound. Clone coming high, low, and late. This should be a game for Diego B to open things up.
Yeah, very, very well played there by Diego B, making Reiki Jones split up his defensive spell. Still getting a lot of damage in with those Lava Puffs with only 20 seconds remaining. How is he going to break through again?
I don't think there's any way at this point, Andrew. He can try to throw a Lumberjack that direction. Should be picked up fairly easily. Now making a rush for it. Lumberjack, Baby Dragon. So this tower is going to fall, but Reiki Jones in a lot of trouble here on the left-hand side.
Yeah, I don't know if I love that very aggressive play by Diego B, but he is in a very comfortable position now as we move into a two-tower game. Reiki Jones, not sure how he's going to bounce back from this one.
Loaded up on that Lumberjack Baby Dragon push, but now down to 335 left-hand side. Zap takes care of the Skarmy.
Able to get a little bit of chip damage in. Neither of these squads have a lot of spell damage on the board, as you can tell.
Giant Snowball and Flying Machine doing their job against that Inferno Dragon, and now Reiki Jones starting to put some pressure on. And there you go, exact same moment. Baby Dragon comes down perfectly. But you get the Miner to the back.
That is huge. That is going to do it right there. Those zaps from Diego B have been masterful throughout this very first game. And the West is finally on top. After 2 matches in the books, Diego B puts them up just 1 game.
That was very, very well played by Diego, Andrew. And you saw Reiki Jones with that Lava Clone deck. Went for a little, got some good damage with 1 big clone push. Didn't get it on the Lava Hound, got it on the support troops. But then it was that Lumberjack Baby Dragon rush. got him back in the mix, but at that point, left-hand tower was just too far gone.
Yeah, Diego B could have maybe defended on the right, just maybe, but you know what he knew he could do was get a ton of damage on the left, which is exactly what you want to do as you move into a two-tower game, and the frustrating position for Reiki Jones to be in, only having one spell to take out all those swarmy troops. Such a quick cycle deck. Clone, not going to do a lot for you defensively.
Yeah, and Skarmy trying to find a way to get the pickup, but the Miner just continuing to run roughshod all over that left-hand tower there at the end. So Diego B taking a big Game 1 win with a deck that really does present some challenges.
Yeah, it's a very, very strong deck, and the MVP of the day for Diego B were those zaps. He used those zaps so very well, whether it was to reset the tower on the Miner or mainly just to clean up the Skellies, which actually does the same thing as well. Resets to the Miner to tank for maybe an Inferno Dragon, maybe a Skelly Barrel. Masterful work from Diego B.
So I wonder what Reiki Jones might do in game number 2. Played a lot of Ram Rider cycle in the regular season, a lot of Pig's Furnace as well. So we'll see what kind of choices Reiki Jones makes in this moment. Now, another big change, Andrew, here at WCG that I don't know how it does or doesn't affect the players. They all play sitting down as opposed to playing standing up in CRL.
Oh, that's, you always notice these small nuances that I just don't even think about, whether it's left-handed players, whether it's standing up, sitting down, or even how they hold their device. That is a very good point, but you have to imagine they're more comfortable sitting down because I'd be very surprised if they're just standing up at home practicing.
You're probably right there, Andrew, but but for two players like Reiki Jones and Mikan Booyah, who seem to get so much power from their stance, it might be something that kind of takes them out of their competition zone sitting down.
I have been so impressed by Diego B throughout this entire weekend, Rich. I know I said it earlier at the top of the match, but he has just been nails throughout, and especially for a guy who really didn't show up a ton so far throughout the season. I mean, overall, he's only played 23 games.
And only 12 games overall in head-to-head play, so a big spot here for Diego B to sort of put his stamp on both the entire CRL world and, of course, the World Cyber Games. And you see Reiki Jones, once again, a very emotive player. Not talking about the emotes on the board, but take a look at his face as he plays, talking to himself, making faces. He is so engaged with his play.
So Royal Giants, will we see a second spawning unit come out, or will he go more traditional?
Lumberloon opposite lane immediately. Lightning does come in, but
that balloon is raged up. Oh, wow.
That is a huge early drop. Lightning does a lot of work, but now down to 1464, and Musketeer Bats will take care of that Royal Giant before too much damage is done.
Yeah, Diego B knew that he had enough in the tank to play defense. Musketeer already on the field. It looked like he would not have enough elixir to take down that Royal Giant quick enough, but the Bats come in very well played.
So have yet to see Spears thus far, Andrew, so feeling more and more like to be one of the two traditional Royal Giant Furnace combinations, either the Lumberjack variant or the Guards variant, both of which, of course, if you've watched CRL West, you know we're not a big fan of.
Yeah, you have made it your personal mission to discredit these two decks, and honestly, for good reason. They just have not performed well, so we'll see right now if Reiki Jones able to pull it off.
Going with the Barbs version in this case, so we will see how that works out. Feels like Diego B might be holding on to a Fireball potentially.
Could be. Bats getting eaten alive there.
Lumberjack staying alive just long enough to put some hurt on that Royal Giant. Lightning comes in, but just a tad too late. Down to 1465. Baby Dragon distracted by the Ice Golem.
Yeah, Reiki Jones behind by 1 HP.
And there you go, the hut is in, so we will see if he can hold off now against this Lumberloon combination.
This deck just cycles so quickly, Rich. And Goblin Hut does come out, so running the more popular version here at WCG. The more effective version as well.
So both players slowing down a bit as we head towards double elixir time. And there you have it.
Yep, that's exactly what you want to do, Rich. As you see someone overloading in one lane, you want to go opposite because a balloon can take a tower at any moment.
So Balloon trying to get drops. Royal Giant opposite lane. Balloon gets down to 395. This is a lot of trouble for Reiki Jones, down to 123. If there's a big spell in Diego's hand, this would be the time to use it.
And you see those Barbs coming down, trying to defend against something, anything. Reiki Jones in a lot of trouble.
So clearly Diego B not playing a fireball, not playing a poison. Going to have to find a way to get on tower. That's going to be difficult with all these buildings. Has done it before, but has to do that while also avoiding a couple of big shots. The Royal Giant can shred that right-hand tower in a moment's notice.
I wasn't sure if Diego B was going for the swerve there. You saw the Ice Golem come down and the delay on the balloon. Only 7:03 on the top right, though. We know how quickly RGs can turn things around.
And there it is, Giant Snowball trying to load up the Barb Barrel. That should be easy to stop. The Furnace turns in. So now we have a race here. Royal Giant trying to get away. Bats come in and take it out. Down to 11 HP. One more Snowball is all it will take for Diego B to take a 2-game sweep. But he might not
wow,
even
he
need
doesn't even need it. Look at that. Diego B doing it once again.
That he wanted. Didn't get a ton of reps this season. Got a big 1v1 win over Mikkel, got a big 1v1 win over Thunderstruck, but he wanted to be able to showcase himself here, and nothing better than that play right there.
I mean, here's the thing. With people like Buffmac, Canario, and Surgical Goblin on your team, Diego B has been overshadowed by those three gentlemen, but not here at the World Cyber Games. If I may, Diego B feels like he has been the MVP for Team Liquid in that head-to-head play. Absolutely astounding in very high-pressure situations, and right there doing it once again. 2 up, 2 down, and Rikey Jones does not know what hit him.
And this puts the opponent's Ponos in a very, very tight spot because now they have to try to go through Surgical Goblin and Canario in 2v2.
Yeah.
And if they win that, look at the options you have in front of you for a best of 5. You either have to beat Diego B again, or Buffmac, or Canario, or Surgical Goblin. So that's a very, very hard set of 4 guys to game against for a best of 5.
And here's the thing, is that player that pops in the best of 5 has not been decided yet. So if you're Ponos, you have to game against a best of 5 set for all 4 of those players. Good luck. But on the other side of it, you got Rad, you got Rikey Jones, you got Mikenbuya. All 3 of them also excellent head-to-head players. Mikenbuya has been struggling a lot in the 1v1 set. However, he's been great in King of the Hill. Now, this may not be King of the Hill, but it is head-to-head with everything on the line, and Mikenbuya shines under pressure.
Absolutely. That's the whole story of Ponos, that they always do. They tend to shine when the pressure's on way more than when it's loose and easy to go for it. But here we have Mikenbuya and Tengod, no slouches in 2v2 themselves.
Yeah.
Very capable of taking out Surge and Canario.
Yeah, this is a very, very interesting set moving forward. You saw what Immortals just did to Chaos Theory. Well, Ponos did that to Immortals on day 1. So this is not going to be an easy set for either of these teams. However, Ponos has the pressure on. Everything for all of Sierra Asia on the line right now, and Team Liquid in a place to shut the door.
Yeah, and you got to feel that Surge and Canario are very confident at this moment. They ended their season with a run of 2v2 performances that were absolutely astounding. Really, once they found their rhythm, there were a few matches, for those of you who watch along in CRL West, where Buffmac and Diego B didn't even take the stage because they didn't need to. Surge and Canario would open up, take the 2v2, and then go, which one of us wants to finish off King of the Hill? You want to do it? Do I want to do it?
I believe it was 4 or 5 matches. I think it was 4 matches in a row, Rich, where neither Diego B or Buffmac even needed to make an appearance because of the dominant play from Surgical and Canario in 2v2 and, of course, in King of the Hill. Right now, those 2 gentlemen are in their favorite position to be in. All eyes on them, ready to take this home. And the other thing about that is they both have ice running through their veins.
Yeah, I mean, these are 2 very experienced players. Surgical Goblin, not just one of the more famous players on the planet, but also one of the more experienced players. And there was a run of time throughout Europe where basically Surge just won everything.
Yeah.
There wasn't a thing he didn't win. It was only Surgical Goblin and Azelis who just were 1 and 2 all over the place for a very, very long time. So there's no situation he gets into where he's concerned, where he's nervous. And, you know, he and Kennard have to be feeling very, very good wearing those absolutely fresh Marvel jerseys for Team Liquid.
I was hoping we were going to talk about those sick Marvel jerseys who Liquid has recently partnered with, which is just absolutely incredible for the entire esports world. I could not be happier to see those gentlemen sporting that Marvel logo. The other thing I wanted to talk about was in 2v2, you have 2 very different squads. Expressive, very loud And on the other side of that, you got Canario and Serge, who don't really say a lot of words. They only speak when necessary, and maybe part of that is the language barrier, as we mentioned before, both of them speaking Spanish. Sergio learning a lot of Spanish here to work with Canario, but incredibly different play styles from these four gentlemen.
Well, that's where Serge's time with Team Queso probably comes into play a bit.
Yeah.
Had a lot of experience working with the Spanish organization, and that definitely helps here playing with Canario. And they are both two very talented head-to-head players. Canario last season might have been the best head-to-head player in all of the European region, and now pairing them together. And you saw last season, Surgical Goblin didn't have the same success in 2v2.
No.
And it was predicted that he would be this big 2v2 player from some of the videos that he made before the Season 1 started.
Right.
And then kind of fell flat in 2v2. So to turn it around this season, pair up with the other big gun from Europe and turn into this 2v2 powerhouse, it just shows why he is such an important part of Clash Royale.
Well, we talk so much about if it's not broke, don't fix it. Well, it was broken. Whether it was 2v2 or head-to-head play, things were just not clicking for the most famous player in the world. So far this season, Eric Benamou being able to kind of reel them in, wrangle up these personalities, figure out where exactly they need to lie. And now a 2v2 specialist to be added to his maybe another notch on his belt, if you will, being already heralded as the most famous and, used to be the greatest player.
Well, I mean, he is the most decorated player in Clash Royale history. Let's not even get into all of his team or his individual accolades, which are pretty much too much to mention. But from a team perspective, what he's done with CRL, what he and these guys did in the offseason with BGW, I believe they got number 1 3 or 4 times during the offseason, playing against the other best in the world. What he did the Sus Cup with SLO, QLash League, so many opportunities. And of course, don't forget the King's Cup, where Surgical Goblin, Clash with Ash, and Vulcan all got together and took a big number 1.
Yeah, and then of course Canario there as well. He was number 1 in the CRL qualifier in the